It was February 18th, 2001, and the annual Daytona 500, NASCAR's Super Bowl, was underway.
Terry Bradshaw waves the green flag. We're racing.
The stakes could not be higher. The near mythological event could slay you or cement your status as a racing god. As he sat in the Rainbow Warrior waiting for the green flag, Jeff Gordon scanned the other cars around him, attempting to locate his stiffest competition. The last car he glanced at belonged to his rival, the legend, Dale Earnhardt. After a rocky start to their relationship, Gordon and Earnhardt had become good friends, gaining a newfound respect for each other's talents. At this point, even their families got along, but none of that mattered right now. The only thing on Gordon's mind at the top of the race was victory. But by the end of the Daytona 500, winning or losing wouldn't matter. An unfathomable tragedy had occurred. It was an event that would permanently tether itself to Jeff's temporal lobe, affecting him for the rest of his life. Jeff Gordon's career thus far was as close to a fairy tale as one can get. Before the age of 30, he had won 3 championships, barely missing out on a 4th, while becoming the face of NASCAR. With the joy of his early success, also came the burden of high expectations. But if he thought getting to the top was hard, he'd soon find out that staying there was even harder. The other drivers knew he was the best, and for the rest of his career, they were gunning for him. He'd have to navigate the challenges that come with fame and personal tragedies. He also wasn't a kid anymore. Professional athletes of any ilk must always adapt as they age. The changes to the body and the mind over time can hinder their ability to perform at an elite level. Jeff Gordon would discover that while time comes for us all, it comes for athletes much sooner. Today on Past Gas, could Jeff Gordon continue to meet sky-high expectations and become the greatest driver of all time? Would his risk-taking, clutch your crotch and floor it style finally catch up to him? Would mounting adversity in his personal life bleed onto the track? Did a massive change in the NASCAR rules hurt Gordon's legacy? And did he really punch a guy at the airport? Our flight to Gordonland is now boarding. Estimated time of departure? Now.
Past Gas Podcast. It's about cars, it's not about sports.
Clutch your crotch and floor it. We're gonna put that on a shirt.
Yeah, I was wondering if it's like you actually grabbing with your hand or if you're doing some sort of like Kegels thing. And like
the people listening can't see this, but I picture it's like this, and you like shift, and then you're like.
So James is describing with his shifting hand, he grabs his
After
crotch.
performing the shift, yeah.
In my mind, it was the prostate muscle.
The what,
You know
Joe?
what I'm talking about? Like a male Kegels, like your prostate muscle tensing up.
You're tensing up your that one. I'm flexing mine.
You're gonna pull a
I'm
muscle,
flexing mine
dude.
right now.
What if you pulled that?
Dude,
that
show
would
must
hurt.
go on. I'd grin and bear it. I'd clutch my crotch and floor it, dude.
Yeah, I guess so.
I actually wrote. This is part 2 of Jeff Gordon. I actually wrote a poem to catch the audience up and kind of remind them of what happened last week.
Okay.
I love it.
Okay. So Jeffrey Gordon took an axe and gave NASCAR 40 whacks. And when all was said and done, he gave pop culture 41.
Oh.
Wow.
Pretty good, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Thank you. I wrote it in the shower.
Nice. And did you remember that or did you read it off your computer?
I remember.
That was off the dome, dude. That was a freestyle.
Oh, wow.
I'm like Jay-Z. I don't write any lyrics down.
Nice.
Well, that's wild. Oh no. Oh no.
No,
Don't pull that muscle, James.
You come into the office and both your eyes are just like full of blood.
The front of my pants is covered in blood.
Well, this is not a men's health podcast, although it probably should be. This is Past Gas. Welcome back, everybody. We are an automotive history show. I am Nolan Sykes, joined, as always, by my 2 buddies. We got Joe Weber.
What's up, Wink Wink Nation? Hope you're good and healthy.
And, of course, we got James Pumphrey. Like James mentioned, this is part 2 of Jeff Gordon, our conclusion of our 2-part series of one of the best NASCAR drivers of all time, one of the most iconic NASCAR drivers of all time. I'm looking forward to seeing where our story takes us this week.
Yeah.
Guys, how are you doing this week?
I'm doing pretty good. I just came back from Arizona testing the new Hummer.
Oh yeah, how was that?
You're testing it for GM, right? You're a test driver.
Yeah. They gave me a helmet and made me sign my life away.
They call you the Chuck Yeager of EVs.
Yeah, because I broke the sound barrier in a Hummer. It was pretty hard, but I did it.
They were like, we did not intend for that to be possible. You just hit like a tailwind. Yeah. And you're going downhill and you just clutch your crotch in Florida.
Got up to 700 miles per hour.
Yeah.
It wasn't really easy. It was cool though. I don't know. I think this comes out after the embargo, but it's scary fast and it's 9,000 pounds. It doesn't feel like it.
That's wild. That's insane that they built something like that. James, how are you doing this week, my man?
Solid as a rock.
Like a rock, Chevy.
Like the country, a rock.
Yeah. Oh God.
That's a joke in Arrested Development, you guys. That's what I thought you were referencing.
That's why I said, oh God, you hack.
Oh.
What are we quoting sitcoms now?
Bazinga.
I gotta pop this shirt
My
off.
wife. You're gonna take your shirt. Yeah, I was wondering why you had it on. Joe never wears a shirt usually when we record, and I got on the Zoom
Joe
call.
has taken his shirt off. What is happening?
It's too hot in my room.
Clearly, okay, yeah.
Is that all right? Do you want me to tip it
for
tip the camera?
No, you're good. You're good.
All of a sudden, this feels like it's for a different audience.
Yeah, just Joe is shirtless for the remainder of this episode. This is not a bit. This is happening, and we're just gonna power through it.
I didn't want to make a big deal out of it.
I bet he gets cold.
Yeah, we'll see that shirt. We'll see the return of that shirt for sure. All right, let's get into our story, huh?
Yeah.
In the words of Gordon's head engineer, Brian Whitesell, quote,
Jeff's 10 feet tall, just brimming with confidence and aggressiveness. You would really get a feel throughout the weekend that when he walked in on Sunday, unless something came out of left field, this was ours.
After one of the best seasons in racing history, Gordon picked up right where he left off by winning the Daytona 500 in 1999. As a result, the media assumed this was going to be another legendary season for him. He'd go on to win 3 more races the first couple of months, but then things began to fall apart. He ended up with 7 did-not finishes and struggled to consistently finish in the top 10. The car had issues, sure, but the bigger problem involved the car's driver and his crew chief.
Wait, so was his car called the Rainbow Warrior, or was it Jeff was the Rainbow Warrior?
The car is the Rainbow Warrior.
Oh, he's just the pilot.
He's the pilot of the Rainbow Warrior, yes. Ever since their fight in the previous season, Ray Evernham and Jeff Gordon's relationship had stalled out. They had fought constantly, and it affected their ability to be competitive. According to Evernham, Gordon, quote, had become less interested in being coached, which was a diplomatic way of saying Gordon wouldn't listen to his input anymore. Evernham also felt that after 7 years as crew chief with 47 victories and 3 championships, he wasn't given the credit within Hendrick's organization that he believed he deserved. Gordon was a great driver with an incredible team, and Evernham managed both of them. So after a couple of bad races and a dispute over the design of the 1998 championship ring, Evernham left mid-season. He took an offer to own a team for Dodge and brought 3 very important crew members with him. Later, Evernham would say, quote,
It's the same thing that tears rock bands apart. I'm the one working a gazillion hours with these guys, and Gordon is making $25 million a year, and I'm only making $1 million.
Gordon and team owner Rick Hendrick felt sideswiped. Everything they had spent 7 years meticulously building to sustain championship after championship was now no longer. When the rare sports dynasty occurs, the discourse always turns to the question of who is the most responsible for all the winning. Think Tom Brady and Bill Belichick or Shaq and Kobe.
And also $1 million a year is not anything to balk at.
No, that's a lot of money, especially back then. And Tom Brady and Bill Belichick is a pretty apt comparison, but I think Bill Belichick is more responsible than that guy. And Shaq and Kobe not apt because they're both athletes. They're both stars.
Phil Jackson, though, put them together.
Phil Jackson and Kobe.
Mhm.
Yeah, dude. Phil Jackson, LeBron, Kobe, Jordan.
He doesn't even have
Kareem.
enough fingers for all his rings. He's going to have to grow some more fingers.
Kareem, Magic, Larry Bird. This is my dream team. Clyde the Glide Drexler, Dr. J, Wilt Chamberlain,
Dude,
Mickey Mantle.
All right, let's move on. The speculation began once Evernham quit. Did Gordon need Evernham or did Evernham need Gordon? Everyone picked a side, James. There is little room in sports media for a nuanced position. Everyone's got to have a hot take. It's entirely possible, likely even, that they actually needed each other. Aww. For a certain period of time, their collaboration produced something special. And like many relationships, they'd grown apart, and it was time to move on. But that's not a good lead-in on SportsCenter. The question lingered, and Gordon heard it loud and clear. He had scoffed at this notion that he had won so much because of masterminds and handlers and expensive equipment. He was the best driver in the world, and he'd earned every lap.
that's like when you say, when James comes to me, he says, this script is bullshit. I'm going to freestyle it. And then those are the worst episodes. Just kidding. That never happens.
Never happened. I just freestyle a car, like a story.
That's what people thought you did.
Yeah, people actually think that they set the camera up and you just go and tell the history of the Pontiac Aztec.
I'm just like a savant.
Yeah.
Like I've read every car magazine ever and retained all of the information.
He's just good like that.
Yeah, he just knows everybody, every executive from Detroit in the 60s name. And all of the Japanese guys from the 80s, he knows all their names.
Like all elite performers searching for an edge, Gordon would use these whispers to his advantage. There was only one antidote guaranteed to stop the conversation about his legitimacy: winning races. So that's what he did. He immediately won in Martinsville and then in Charlotte while working with an interim crew chief he hardly knew. Suddenly, the critics were silent. After that quick dopamine rush of winning 2 in a row faded, reality set in. The team was out of sync. Gordon just didn't have a rapport with his crew chief, and the engineers they lost were critical to crafting the fastest car. They ended the 1999 season in a deflating 6th place.
Dude, it's like I always say, it's not just the guy in front. Like, it's not just the face. It's everybody behind it that really makes the difference, right? It's like a team.
You always
it's
say
all a
that.
team effort.
Yeah.
And it's like the whole team is as important as everybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah. You said that at least once.
That's what I always say.
6th place was not exactly the follow-up to a great season he was hoping for. But Hendricks had zero doubts, and in response to the whole Evernham fiasco, he signed Jeff Gordon to a lifetime contract. After all, he was his Michael Jordan. They poached Robbie Loomis from Richard Petty's team to be the new crew chief, and Gordon was ready to start from scratch with a whole new squad.
Lifetime contract.
That's insane.
Gordon's early rapport with Loomis was messy.
Uh-oh.
Plus, there was a new stock Ford Taurus on the circuit with an aerodynamic design structure that his Chevy Monte Carlo couldn't compete with. This led to a pretty ugly first half to the 2000 season. At one point, Gordon had 4 races in a row without a top 20 finish.
Whoa.
The first such drought of his career. Relationships take time to build, and patience wasn't a common virtue in race car drivers. Needless to say, Gordon was agitated all year. As the season progressed, Gordon and Loomis began having minor epiphanies about how they could improve. It all finally came together at Talladega, where Gordon took the checkered flag. This made him just the 7th driver in history to win the Grand Slam, which includes the 4 major races at Daytona, Charlotte, Darlington, and Talladega.
Wow.
And the prize for that is the Denny's Grand Slam.
For life, you get a card.
But only once a week. You can't do it every day.
Yeah. He and Loomis had figured something out, and Gordon would finish the season very strong. He had a top 10 finish in each of his final 11 races of the season. Gordon was elated. In some of his darkest moments early in the season, thoughts of doubt about his driving had crept in. Maybe he was too much of a risk taker, and maybe he needed Evernham to rein him in. But winning cures all, and Gordon knew in 2001 that he could win with Loomis, and most importantly, without Evernham.
I mean, Evernham is a mouthful to say. Loomis just rolls off the tongue.
Right. Loomis is from Harry Potter, and Evernham has that sneaky N right in the middle.
Yeah. It's fun to say on a podcast.
Mm-hmm. Gordon and Loomis were all smiles at the Daytona International Speedway on that beautiful February afternoon in 2001. The team had a quiet confidence about it that was similar to the 1998 season. It felt like they all knew the same secret, a dirty little secret, and they weren't going to tell. They were going to win it all that year, and they were going to prove it starting in Daytona. But the day didn't go the way they or anybody else had hoped. They finished 30th overall, but by the end of the race, the results had practically been forgotten. On the final turn of the final lap, while trying to make a final push to victory, Dale Earnhardt was clipped. Attempting to gain control of his car, Earnhardt over-adjusted, and his famous Goodwrench-sponsored number 3 car slammed headfirst into the wall at 150 miles per hour. He was killed instantly. The world watched in stunned silence as attendants tried to revive him in vain. It's no secret that danger is a massive part of the sport. For some reason, it's even an exciting element that keeps them coming back. However, for a legend like Dale, this is like the saddest thing ever, dude.
Mm-hmm.
This is the saddest moment in sports. However, for a legend like Dale Earnhardt, to perish on the track just didn't feel real. His lore had been elevated to demigod status. It's as if a famous character like Hercules or Paul Bunyan died. His death would be felt in the industry for years to come. NASCAR would usher in a new era of driver safety tactics in an effort to prevent this from happening again. Even in death, Earnhardt would continue to influence the sport that he had dominated in life. Yeah, man, this like really affected NASCAR.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because of Gordon and Earnhardt, like NASCAR was, everything we talked about in the last episode, NASCAR was really becoming like a mainstream sport.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this race may have been the most, like they had just signed this huge TV deal.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this race may have been the most viewed race in NASCAR history.
Oh, God.
If not that, then like definitely one of the most viewed.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, like a guy died on TV and it really set them back like a lot.
Yeah. This episode is brought to you by Peloton. An easy way to keep things fresh in your life and stay motivated is to try new things, and Peloton can help you do that. Peloton is pushing you further with so much new on the Peloton Bike and Peloton Bike Plus. They got new classes, new music, and new ways to keep your workouts fun and motivating. Peloton is stepping into the ring with its newest discipline, no gloves needed. Discover a fast, furious, and fun workout with Peloton boxing instructors in your corner. Even if you've never boxed before, these classes will have you working up a sweat while working on the fundamentals of form, footwork, and fun combos that will keep you on your toes. Peloton also has more daily workout variety. It's easier to stick to your goals when you keep your workouts interesting. Peloton has a workout for every day and every schedule. De-stress from a long day with 30 minutes of strength and 20 minutes of cardio, or do a quick 15-minute total body class before work. Stay motivated while having fun with bike workouts, yoga, meditation, dance, cardio, and more. You know what? I have a really busy lifestyle. I'm all over the place with Donut doing stuff, but exercise is one thing that really helps keep me happy, and Peloton can help you get in shape and be just that. If this sounds good to you, visit onepeloton.com to learn more. That's ONEPELOTON.com. Thank you very much, Peloton. This episode is also brought to you by thezebra.com. Think about it. When was the last time you took a closer look at your car or home insurance? When you moved? Got in an accident? I've got news for you. Insurance rates have been going up. And if you haven't checked in a while, you could be paying more than you need to. And that's why I recommend my friends at The Zebra. They make it super easy to find the best insurance at the best price for you. The Zebra compares car and home quotes from every major insurance company side by side, giving you all the facts you need to make the right decision. It's the fastest way to find the right coverage at the right price, all from a company you can trust. In fact, The Zebra could save you over $900 a year on car and home insurance combined. $900 bucks. And the best part is they do it all in under 5 5 minutes. I've used the Zebra before. It's super easy. You just go on their website, give them some quick information, and soon they'll have quotes for you right at your fingertips. Compare and save on insurance in minutes. Show your support for the show by going to the special URL, thezebra.com/pastgas, and get your free quote today. That's thezebra.com/pastgas. Thank you, The Zebra.
Have you ever been rejected for a credit card? I have. I honestly am pretty new to credit. I didn't have a credit card until I was like 30. It happens way too often. That's why Credit Karma created Karma Confidence technology, helping our members apply with more confidence. Credit Karma uses Credit Profile to show you offers that are tailored to your financial situation. Credit Karma partners with a wide range of card issuers, so you can be sure that you are exploring all sorts of options. Best of all, Credit Karma uses your credit data to show you your chances of approval before you even apply, helping you apply with more confidence. Comparing cards on Credit Karma is 100% free and won't affect your credit scores, which is great. I personally think Credit Karma is a great service. If you can check all your options in one place, if you can check your score without being knocked down, I think that's great. Ready to find the card for you? Head to Credit Karma and check out your personalized mix of offers today. Go to creditkarma.com or the Credit Karma app to find the card for you. That's creditkarma.com.
Gordon was understandably shaken by Earnhardt's death. Every driver was. If one of the greatest drivers of all time could die on track, then what could that mean for them? Gordon wrestled back intrusive thoughts of his mortality all season long. Professional sports don't provide much space for reflection or mourning. Those would have to wait. If he wanted to honor the legacy and life of his good friend, he would need to do what Earnhardt would have done in the same situation. The one thing in his life that had always proven to heal all wounds: winning. So that's what Gordon did. He put his head down, he showed up to work, and he focused. He came in third in Rockingham the week after the tragedy. Then he won the following week in commanding fashion in Vegas. He dominated Indianapolis and Watkins Glen. By the time he lifted his head back up, he was staring directly at a fourth championship, the first one without Evernham by his side or Earnhardt competing on the track. It was bittersweet and a turning point in Gordon's life. He exited 2002 with a new perspective, one that would bring even more painful changes and present another obstacle for him to outmaneuver.
Can you imagine like seeing someone die and then you just have to go race the next week? Like how much would that mentally mess you up?
Yeah, I mean, especially when, you know, like every great like person, they say, needs like a great adversary, like a rival to keep pushing and pushing and pushing.
To like bring out the best in you. So our producer Tommy says 17 million people watched Daytona 2001 and 4 million last year.
When you're used to winning, losses become magnified. You can get lost in the smoke of the wreckage, unsure if there's a path to the other side. After losing his coach and his friend in a span of 18 months, Gordon also lost his marriage. He and his wife, Brooke, who met in Victory Lane after his first win, could no longer make things work. Earnhardt's death taught Gordon how fragile life was, and his unhappiness at home became untenable. He filed for a divorce, and the tabloids had a field day. It consumed his life. Gordon couldn't even hold a door open for a woman without photos being taken and assumptions being made.
And that sucks because he loves holding doors open.
Dude, he is like top 3. Yeah. It's hard enough to go through a divorce in private. Rumors of him being unfaithful swirled. Lawsuits were filed, and Gordon and Brooke made hell for each other's lives. In the meantime, Gordon did what newly single people do. He let loose and partied.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy. Jeff Gordon's playing tummy sticks.
Good, Jeffy. He took private planes to Vegas and spent time in Europe with his team, but he still had to race cars.
Oh, man.
Again, professional sports don't provide much space for reflection and mourning. In 2002, when things went wrong, the quick twitch troubleshooting and smart decision-making wasn't there. Blown engines, unnecessary crashes, and unfocused driving left him with just 3 victories at the end of 2002. People naturally began to wonder if losses off the track were why he was losing on it. Hendricks Motorsport had also brought on a new teammate for Jeff Gordon, a gifted young phenom named after a sausage company named Jimmy Johnson. A guy who
Are you thinking of Johnsonville and Jimmy Dean?
Yeah.
This is where the Lakers metaphor works, because now you got a Shaq and a Kobe.
Yeah.
Full circle.
Yeah. And Jimmy Johnson is 7'4". So
And he's a DJ and a sheriff.
yeah.
And he has that video game called John Fu.
John Fu, even though his name is Jimmy.
Jimmy Johnson was a young driver who many people were comparing to a young Jeff Gordon. While a lot of drivers might have felt threatened, Gordon embraced Johnson. Took him under his wing and made him his protege. He taught him all the things he wished somebody had taught him when he was just starting out. They developed a close bond, and it brought a much-needed distraction to his life. After months of his face being plastered on the front page of nearly every magazine at the supermarket checkout line, Gordon had somehow become even more famous. Driving cars was no longer his only job. He'd become a regular fill-in host for Regis Philbin on Live with Regis and Kelly.
Sweet.
He hosted Saturday Night Live, shot numerous commercials, explored business endeavors, and hobnobbed with the ultra-wealthy. As a result, NASCAR was more popular and profitable than ever before. It was now one of the top sports in the country, with its ratings trailing only the NFL.
Wow.
Between Earnhardt's death, his divorce, and all the tabloid attention, Gordon struggled to feel like his life belonged to him. He finished 2003 again with only 3 victories. Gordon, still very early in his career, felt like he was not living up to his expectations. He had to find that focus he had before, and in 2004, he came out with purpose.
It's important not to get lost in the sauce.
Dude, tell me about it. Have you ever been lost in the sauce, Nolan?
Yes.
Me too.
Yeah.
If you're hobnobbing all the time, it's so easy to get lost in the sauce, especially when you're rubbing elbows with
The ultra wealthy.
Yeah, I mean, but I'm being sincere. I think, like, you know, Nolan and I, it's like obviously a much smaller version, like a much smaller version. But like Uber drivers know who we are, and like that's real weird. And like sometimes you just kind of like feel like you don't, or like when if we go to like a racing event or something.
Yeah,
and people
you guys
just
get
like,
stopped every 2 seconds.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, sometimes you feel like you're not yourself.
I think you're in a weird position because you're not getting the star treatment where maybe someone who's been around for a little bit longer might get like a private booth.
Yeah,
You're still down hanging out with people.
Yeah, with the Cretans.
The Cretans, yeah. Hobnobbing with the Cretans. That's my new EP, by the way.
Dude, I'm going to start calling our fans Cretans.
The Cretans.
So, Cretans. And I think I want to take Donut in a real psychobilly direction.
Yeah. We'll get some like flash tattoo.
Yeah,
shirts.
everyone's rocking the slick back hair. We're wearing shirts with big collars on them. We're all driving cars in the 50s.
Yeah.
Our guest on today's D-list is Nick 13. That's a Tiger Army joke for all my Tiger Army nation.
Oh, they're out there. They're out there. Gordon was feeling like himself in 2004, and it showed. He was back to dominating the big races like Daytona and Talladega. He put on a show all season, and if NASCAR hadn't changed the rules with its new end-of-season Chase for the Cup tournament, Gordon would have won his 5th championship. Sorry, I was involuntary. But life comes fast, often with no mercy. Towards the end of the 2004 season, an unfathomable tragedy would strike again. While heading to the next race in Martinsville, the Hendrick Motorsports private plane crashed, killing all 10 on board. The victims, including the pilots, head engineers, both the president and vice president of the company, and Hendrick's own 24-year-old son, Ricky, a close personal friend of Gordon's.
I remember this, man. This is awful.
That's horrible.
For a man so used to winning on the track, the losses in his personal life were becoming difficult to manage. You think? Dude, a plane crash?
What an episode. Good God. After starting his career hotter than any driver ever, Gordon only had 1 championship in the last 6 seasons. With Ray Evernham as his crew chief, Gordon averaged an astonishing 10 wins a season. but without him, he was averaging less than 4. Things were simpler when he was younger. He was a talented driver thirsty to prove himself. Racing was all he knew, and it's all he cared about. Now, he was the sport's biggest star with the wealth of a major corporation. He had endured a lifetime's worth of headaches in the last 3 years. It was all starting to catch up. 2005 was a whirlwind of big wins and rough performances. Jeff wasn't feeling as sharp, and his car wasn't feeling as fast. His risky style of driving was causing him to crash more. After one bad crash in Chicago, Gordon's frustrations reached a boiling point. He believed driver Mike Bliss caused the wreck. After Earnhardt's death, he had a low tolerance for reckless driving, which is kind of ironic. Following the race, when Gordon saw Bliss at the airport, he punched Bliss square in the face.
Whoa. Pulled a Buzz Aldrin.
Sure.
Dude, an airport is a tough place to punch somebody.
Yeah, you get put on the terrorist list for that.
Yeah. And this is after 9/11 too. So you know that security and the scrutiny was much higher. Yeah, that's not where I'd punch someone.
Mm-mm.
Where would you punch someone?
In the tummy.
Bar.
The bar?
Tummy. Yeah, why not?
In the tummy.
At the donut office, I would punch someone there.
Where would you punch someone, Joe? I keep forgetting you have your shirt off.
I'm still hot. I think I would hold up like a phone book to their tummy and punch it so they don't get a bruise.
And then you like break your knuckles.
No, I'd probably do like a
little palm
open
strike.
palm.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
But that's a lot of planning. And usually when you punch someone, you don't have enough time to plan stuff.
Yeah, you can't like stop and be like, time out. Let me get my.
That's also
my
an
phone
awful
book.
lot of premeditation. And the more premeditation you have, the more it's a crime.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if someone, like I'm trying to throw Yellow Pages away and they slap it out of my hand, then I have, carte blanche.
Yeah, you've got justification. So yeah. Jeff punched the guy in the face, and this would not be the last time Gordon would come to blows with another driver. As scary as that Chicago wreck was, it was nothing compared to his next one. 2006 had actually started quite well. Gordon had a new fiancée. He was now a regular on Live with Regis and Kelly, and he and his new crew chief were starting to gel, like our rockabilly band. Then came the Poconos. With 11 laps left, Gordon's brake rotor blew and he lost control of the car. He slammed headfirst into the wall at 150 miles per hour. The crash was eerily similar to Dale Earnhardt's. However, the new safety protocols implemented after his death probably saved Gordon's life. He suffered a concussion and a small fracture which would have residual effects for the rest of the season. At the end of 2006, it was his teammate Jimmy Johnson who would take home the championship. It was the first of Jimmy's career. Gordon, a good teammate and mentor, celebrated as if it was his own. So,
if I remember correctly, they were trying to get the Hans device implemented before the 2001 season, and it didn't happen. And then directly after Dale Earnhardt passing away, that's when they started using the Hans device.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that Hans device, it keeps your skull from detaching from your spine.
Yeah.
That's one of the main benefits from it. And I definitely recommend you wear one even at any track day you go to. Autocross, you can definitely get away with it. But like track day, even if you have a harness in your car, especially if you have a harness in your car, wear one. Even if you don't hit something head on, it can save your life. My buddy was telling me a story about how a driver died at a local track event here in SoCal a few years ago. He hit a steward stand sideways, and the impact then of his head going sideways was enough to kill him. So please be careful out there and wear safety equipment, even if it feels like overkill.
Yeah, being safe is the new hot.
Plus, helmets and Hans devices look sick. So
really sick.
Yeah.
Dude, there's nothing cooler than getting out of your car wearing gloves, a short sleeve shirt, and a Hans device and a helmet and running over and punching your buddy in the tummy.
Yeah. Punch him in the tummy.
Past Gas is presented by Autozone. Get in the zone. Autozone. Let's talk about gas prices, right? They're super high. The good thing is that Autozone has a couple solutions. One of the easiest things you can do is change your air filter. Autozone has STP filters for just about every vehicle, and it's super easy to do. Second easiest thing is check your tire pressure. It's a small job, but it makes a huge difference. You can get a tune-up or oil change. A lot of fuel efficiency is just making sure your vehicle is running at its best. Basic maintenance like regular oil changes and tune-ups go a long way. Get rid of your check engine light. A lot of check engine light issues like fuel leak or malfunctioning oxygen sensor can seriously burn through your fuel. Get a free fix finder reading at AutoZone and they can recommend ways to get that light cleared. I've used this a lot. I lost my OBD2 sensor and I've used AutoZone's free code reader a bunch. It's really honestly super convenient, saves you a bunch of time, money. They're honest at AutoZone. They're going to tell you what you need. They're going to help you find it and help you fix your car, and I think that's great. Getting the most out of every mile with AutoZone is easy, peasy, lemon squeezy. A little effort goes a long way. Just spend an afternoon with your car and show it the love it deserves. For more vehicle solutions, you can always rely on AutoZone. Get in the zone. AutoZone. Cryptocurrency might feel like a secret or exclusive club, but Coinbase believes that everyone everywhere should be able to get in the door. Whether you've been trading for years or just getting started, Coinbase can help. Coinbase offers a trusted and easy-to-use platform to buy, sell, and spend cryptocurrency. They support most popular digital currencies on the market and make them accessible to everyone. They offer portfolio management and protection, learning resources, and a mobile app, so you can trade securely and monitor your crypto all in one place. Millions of people in over 100 countries trust Coinbase with their digital assets. I've got some crypto in my Coinbase wallet. It's super easy to use. It's very intuitive. I can find all the crypto that I want. It's really convenient. I can't recommend it enough. For a limited time, new users can get $10 in free Bitcoin when you sign up today at coinbase.com/donut. Sign up at coinbase.com/donut for $10 in free Bitcoin. This offer is for a limited time only, so be sure to sign up today. That's coinbase.com/donut.
2007 was a bounce-back season for Jeff. He led the championships in points that year, but came in second place in that stupid Chase for the Cup format to his teammate.
You want to explain what that is really quickly?
Yeah, okay. I don't know why you guys are giggling so much.
Okay, so Chase for the Cup. So instead of like points just being allocated at the end of the season and whoever has the most points wins, you gotta, when you're in the Chase for the Cup, you gotta stay above a threshold line basically. And if you don't perform as well as the other drivers in the Chase for the Cup, you get knocked out. So like at the beginning of the chase, there's 16 drivers going for it. Then after a certain amount of rounds, there's only 8 drivers left, 4 drivers left, 2 drivers left, so on until a winner is determined through that way. But
does it get down to 2?
It goes down to 4. Sorry. At least in the current rules, it goes down to 4. You don't have to necessarily win during the Chase for the Cup. You just have to do better than the other drivers in it. Like conceivably, all the drivers in the Chase for the Cup could finish in the bottom 20. But as long as you're doing better than the other drivers that were finishing the bottom 20, like you move on. It's needlessly complicated, and it was NASCAR's attempt to like add more drama to the championship series. Ironically, because of drivers like Jeff Gordon, who would just dominate all season and it would walk away with the wins. So it's Jeff's success early on that led to him having trouble with the Chase for the Cup format.
So Jeff, at this point, is looking at himself in the mirror, trying to figure out how to punch himself in the tummy.
Yeah.
For getting himself in this situation.
Yeah. After Jimmy Johnson's second championship win, he, like Jeff Gordon circa 1997, was being talked about as the world's best driver and had taken over as Hendrick's golden boy. Technically, if NASCAR had never changed the rules, this would have been Gordon's 6th championship. But the rules had changed, which meant Jeff didn't have 6 championships. He had 4. So, Gordon's fans began a Drive for 5 campaign to bring some good vibes for the 5th championship. 2008 was going to be the year. He had been building his rapport with his crew chief and felt like this could be another 2001 type of season. But a catchy slogan wouldn't be enough because for the first time in his career, Jeff Gordon didn't win a single race.
Damn.
Yeah, that's rough. Ever since he was 5 years old, he won at every level, and losing this much was incredibly painful.
My baseball team hasn't won a game in almost 2 years, so I kind of feel for him.
You feel, yeah. Yeah, it's kind of the same.
It's the same.
Yeah.
It's the same.
You guys have hats and uniforms.
Yeah.
You guys are official.
Some would say the coolest, but
They are sick.
Those same people say you're spending too much time designing your uniforms and hats and not playing baseball and
Practicing.
training. Yeah.
Dude, no one's going to remember who won,
Yeah, that's true.
but they will wear that hat.
Yep.
Yeah, it's made it into a ton of different donut videos. So HMU if you want.
If losing hurt that much, one might think that from 2008 through 2011, Gordon was exploring masochism. He lost a lot. He was unremarkable in 2009, then went winless again in 2010. He snapped a losing streak of 66 straight events by winning 3 races in 2011. To make matters worse, though, his teammate and protege, Jimmy Johnson, was doing something historically remarkable. He won 5 consecutive Winston Cup championships from 2006 to 2010.
Wow.
He was in the midst of the greatest stretch of driving in NASCAR history. Johnson's career was shaping up to look a lot like the career Gordon had envisioned for himself. Jeff finally understood what Dale Earnhardt felt when Gordon showed up and took over NASCAR during the Intimidator's late prime. Gordon and Johnson's relationship had grown a bit sour as a result. Gordon fans were entering the same state of denial that Earnhardt fans had experienced. The hard-to-swallow pill of aging had landed on Gordon's cup, and it was his turn to drink it. It was clear at this point that Gordon wasn't even close to the best anymore, and his career was winding down.
Gordon was now 40, and as most 40-year-olds can attest, a completely different human being than he was when he was, say, 20. He was now a father, a businessman, and a philanthropist. 10 years from a championship, he found himself often reminiscing about past achievements in racing and fantasizing less about future ones. He admitted he wasn't as motivated any longer after 2010, by far his worst season. They had a good car and a good team, but couldn't pull it out, which to him meant that he was the issue. But he wasn't ready to retire to the old garage upstate. He still had a small flame for competition inside of him, and that flame kept dragging him into the speedway every weekend. He coasted in the middle of the pack in 2012 and 2013. By this time, Jimmy Johnson had won another championship and had lapped Gordon on the all-time greatest drivers list. Even Gordon had acquiesced and began calling his teammate the greatest driver of all time. It's like Birdman and Lil Wayne. No, it's like Jay-Z and Lil Wayne on Mr. Carter. You know? Listen to that song. It's great. He made the decision that he would retire in 2015. He wanted one more push for glory, and in 2014 focused harder than he had in years. He still had a little bit of magic left in the tank and actually led NASCAR in points that season. Again, if the old rules were in place, this would have been championship number 7.
God.
However, he lost the chase for the cup, coming up short yet again.
Man, that's lame.
It's so lame.
Yeah.
Hey, let's make it really confusing to watch. And like maybe the guy who actually won isn't going to win. He retired after the 2015 season to incredible fanfare at 44 years old. It's true he hadn't been one of the best drivers in the world in quite some time, but he was beloved by the NASCAR community, and they came out all season long to give him an honorable send-off. The last 10 years of his career had been incredibly frustrating. He won major races here and there and certainly hit record-breaking career milestones. But the thing he wanted most was to win championships. And it had been so long since that happened, he almost forgot what it felt like.
Jeff Gordon was a home run hitter, a quarterback unafraid to throw the deep ball, the basketball player who dunks instead of going for the easy layup. He was a visceral driver who chose the old-school gut-feeling approach to driving. That style got him to some of the highest highs a race car driver has ever reached. It also cost him a lot of races. Some people felt like the second half of his career was held back by personal tragedy and a love of the limelight. There's no way to know if that is true. After all, if NASCAR had kept the rules the way they had been for decades, Gordon would have tied Petty, Earnhardt, and Johnson with 7 titles. Regardless, Gordon's legacy as one of the 5 greatest NASCAR drivers of all time is set in stone. In 805 races, over 25 years, he had 93 first-place finishes, 302 top 5 finishes, and 4 championships. Those numbers are all top 5. Perhaps more importantly, he had brought NASCAR into the mainstream of American culture. He opened the sport up to millions of people who otherwise would have dismissed it. Crazily enough, he's still only 50 years old. Ancient for a race car driver, but young for someone who's experienced many lifetimes worth of victories and defeats.
Jared Leto's 50 years old.
Is he really?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Whew. But young for someone who's experienced many lifetimes worth of victories and defeats, with amazing highs and terrible lows. Fame and scandal, all cementing Jeff Gordon as a living legend. I think it speaks to the power of Jeff's impact on the sport in his early years, winning those 4 championships so early on, how big of a phenomenon that was, because I think most people don't really remember the second half of this story.
No,
not at all.
troubled
Like, we were
years.
talking about like 2012. I was like, what? No way, dude.
Yeah.
I thought he retired in like 2000.
yeah.
Admittedly, I'm a somewhat casual NASCAR fan. I do watch on weekends, but I'm not really super caught up with all the drivers and all the lore, but yeah, it's just very impressive. One, that his career lasted that long, and two, that his impact just kind of overshadows all the bad finishes and whatnot.
He's a great driver. I don't think he's that great of a TV personality.
Jeff Gordon.
He was on Regis and Philbin.
No, I know,
Joe.
but there's
You
this
just don't like his
thing-
voice.
There's this like push to get sports stars, in front of the camera all the time. And they're always so bland because they're not, trained to be on TV. They're trained to be like,
I think Jeff, I think, and during the NASCAR broadcast, he adds a lot of insight into like race strategy and driver mindset, of course.
But if
with
he's,
like,
interviewing Tyga on Regis, and
yeah,
it's like, what does he have to talk about?
much in the way that like Tony Romo, I think, is probably like one of the best NFL
he's
announcers right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tony Romo, really great. Anyway, thank you so much for listening to Past Gas. This was really fun to learn about Jeff Gordon once again. Get refreshed on old Jeffy there.
I want to give a quick shout out to a homie that I met in Arizona who's a big fan of the podcast, Charlie at the Crescent Ballroom. Him and his
Big
friends
shout out.
listen every week, they said, and he was super nice.
All right, well, thank you so much for listening to Past Gas. You can follow the boys at Joe G. Weber, at James Pumphrey, and follow me at Nolan J. Sykes. And Joe, put your shirt back on, Joe.
Never. I'm doing a 5-day no shirt challenge.
I'm doing no shirt member.
All right, thank you very much.